Good afternoon to you all. I would like to first of all thank Direção-Geral das Artes for the invitation to be here today and take this opportunity to give you and provide you an overview and a summarized idea of what are the EEA grants and the financial mechanism for 2009-2014 and its application in Portugal. In the previous interventions, we have heard about the EEA grants as the financial mechanism support for the program implementation, for the program Cultural Footprint, Arts and Education. And as the coordinator of the National Focal Point and National Management Unit of the EEA grants in Portugal, I would like to convey to you very briefly what seems to be the horizontal issues across all stakeholders for all programs in Portugal and try to clarify what may be some of the doubts that are normally raised regarding the objectives, the principles, the functioning and the funding allocations for Portugal. Now, this has been already touched upon, but I think we should always start by the beginning. And the European Economic Grants began in January 1994 with the signature of the European Economic Area Agreement between the EU member states and 3 European Economic Area EFTA states, which were Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. These 3 countries became donors and became partners in the EU internal market and engaged in financially contributing initiatives in the EU member states that would contribute to the reduction of social and economic disparities in the European Economic Area. Each financial mechanism support of the EEA grants has had a programming phase typically of 5 years. This one, the current one, which is called 2009-2014, however, in practice it should be applied throughout the years of 2013 to 2016-17. I will explain this a bit later. In Portugal, it started, it's the 4th one in force in Portugal and has an additional overall objective to the reducing of the disparities within the European Economic Area. So this current mechanism has 2 overall objectives. One is the reducing of social and economic disparities, as Mr. Ambassador told, and the other one is to strengthen cooperation between entities in donor states and in the beneficiary state, in this case Portugal. I will come to this strengthening of bilateral relations because the funding sets aside specific funds for this objective that I think you should all be aware of its existence. So through the EEA grants for the current period, the donors are providing a total of about 988.5 million euros to 15 beneficiary countries in Central and Southern Europe, 95% of which is financed by Norway. Portugal is receiving approximately 58 million euros. The net allocation corresponding to this amount, and that will go to programs, to the technical assistance, and to a fund for bilateral relations at national level, is about 53.5 million euros. This corresponds to an amount of 26.5 million euros more than what was allocated to Portugal in the previous mechanism in 2004-2009. The EEA grants typically support initiatives in areas and sectors with specific identified needs in the beneficiary countries that are in line with national and European priorities. Now in Portugal, the implementation of the EEA grants mechanism started in March last year with the signature of the Memorandum of Understanding. The content of this Memorandum of Understanding is based on negotiations that were held between Portugal and the donor countries back in 2010. The MOU defines the EU grants' overall objectives, so the reduction of the social and economic disparities and the strengthening for bilateral cooperation, the priority sectors, which are the environmental management and protection, climate change and renewable energy, civil society, social and human development, and protection of cultural heritage, the program areas to be funded in Portugal, and the main national entities involved in this implementation. Regarding the main entities, I will just point out the 4 main entities on the implementation in Portugal of the mechanism. And they are the National Management Unit or National Focal Point, which works at is integrated in the Ministry for Environment, Spatial Planning and Energy, represents the beneficiary country, and is responsible for the management and implementation of the current mechanism in Portugal and for monitoring the progress and quality of the programs. It works on a daily basis with the Financial Mechanism Office, which represents the donor countries in Brussels, and in a very close and very good cooperation with the Norwegian Embassy in Lisbon. Inspeção Geral de Finanças is the audit authority and ensures the audits of the projects and compliance with the management and control systems in place. Instituto Financeiro para o Desenvolvimento Regional, the current Agência para o Desenvolvimento e Coesão, ensures the submission of the financial reports to the Financial Mechanism Office. And the program operators, they are very important. They are the entities that have prepared and that will manage the implementation of each of the programs identified in the Memorandum of Understanding. I wouldn't like to be listing anything in this intervention, but I think this can be useful so that all participants have a good overview of where is the financial mechanism allocating its verbs in Portugal. And so we have 8 programs in the following areas. Integrated Marine Water Management, which is managed by Direção Geral de Políticas do Mar, and benefiting from the major allocation of the programs in Portugal, which is 19.2 million euros. Then we have Public Health Initiatives, which is managed by Administração Central dos Serviços de Saúde and benefits of an allocation of 10 million euros. Funds for non-governmental organizations are managed by Fundação Carlos de Gulbenkian and benefits from an allocation of 5.8 million euros. Renewable energy, managed by Eletricidade dos Açores and benefiting of an allocation of 4 million euros. Conservation and revitalization of cultural and natural heritage, this program was mentioned by State Secretary for Culture, is managed by Direção Regional de Cultura do Centro and benefits of an allocation of 4 million euros. Adaptation to climate change is managed by Agência Portuguesa do Ambiente and benefits of an allocation of 3 million euros. Mainstream gender equality and promoting work-life balance is managed by Comissão para a Cidadania e Igualdade de Género and benefits of an allocation of 2.5 million euros. And promotion of diversity in culture and arts within European cultural heritage, managed by Direção Geral das Artes, the one that we are launching here today, and benefits of an allocation of 1 million euros. Typically, the financial mechanism supports 85% of the total costs of the program, and the national co-financing corresponds to 15% of the costs. So, regarding all programs, the total national co-financing is about 8.7 million euros. Now, I said that I was going to refer to the strengthening of bilateral relations between the entities in the donor countries and in the beneficiary country, in this case Portugal. And this is very important. Besides being an overall objective of the EU grants, we believe that it approaches the entities involved with the consequent obvious benefits of it. And ultimately, best practices arising from partnerships will surely be reflected in the quality and sustainability of the supported projects. This objective is achieved through specific funding, a fund for bilateral relations at national level, which corresponds to 0.5% of the total national allocation and is directly managed by the National Management Unit, and the Fund for Bilateral Relations at program level, corresponding to 1.5% of the allocation for a program, and is prepared and managed by the program operator. Moreover, partnerships in the programs and projects have been reviewed in the Memorandum of Understanding. So back in 2012, we had already previewed that 4 out of 8 programs included partnerships with donor countries' entities, and this one is one of them, with a partnership between Direção Geral das Artes and Arts Council Norway. And 3 project partners have also been identified for other programs in the Memorandum of Understanding. And finally, regarding these partnerships, we are counting on several additional partnerships to be created and eventually to arise on the open calls, applications, and procedures. Since the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, a fast progress has been done in Portugal on the preparation and approval of each of the programs towards the achievement of the proposed objectives in the timing for implementation of the current mechanism in Portugal. Regarding the timing, general rule is that all projects have to be executed by April 2016 and programs have to be closed by 2017. These last few months have been marked by the approval by the donor states of the program proposals and effective launching of each of the programs, including the first open calls. The program Cultural Footprint, Arts and Educations is 1 in 10 in all beneficiary countries to be supported under the EE grants within the program area Promotion of Diversity in Culture and Arts within the European Cultural Heritage. The total allocation from the donor countries to this program area corresponds to about 28 million euros. The main objective of this program area is to increase cultural dialogue and foster European identity through understanding of cultural diversity. And the idea is that, from the donors and national point of view, promoting cultural diversity is considered essential in order to strengthen democratic values in Europe and to contribute to social and economic cohesion. Culture and cultural actors may contribute to the development of values, principles, norms. They are recognized as efficient mediators between different groups, and therefore they may foster inclusive societies. Moreover, the recognition of cultural diversity enhances individual freedom and creativity and opens new perspectives on cultural identity. So, aiming at stimulating offer and demand of artistic projects with a strong educational component and encouraging cooperation between Portuguese artistic entities, donor country artistic entities, and schools and groups of schools, the Cultural Footprint program serves 2 main and so relevant vectors in our society. It addresses the youngsters and it addresses culture. So the presentations and discussions throughout the rest of the afternoon will surely be very interesting, and I truly hope that all stakeholders will understand better the program, the EE grants, how they function, and get to know each other and get to know also their potential partners. On our side, we remain available, the National Management Unit, to clarify any questions that you may have on the implementation of the mechanism in Portugal, and sure to take on any recommendations that you may feel that are useful for the implementation in Portugal of the financial mechanism. Thank you very much for your attention.